All right, Jerk-Offs, we are back with a fresh ep of the Union Jack-Off. Hello, it is me, Daniel Muggleton. I've returned from a weekend in Leicester. Leicester, of course, famous for winning the Premier League a few years ago with, just a normal team, I guess you'd say. Like, not a team that's sponsored by Middle Eastern oil money or insane family money. They were owned by a Thai man who has since passed away, very sadly, and they won the Premier League with a team that most other teams could afford. And I remember thinking at the time, wow, this is fucking crazy. I've never seen that happen before. And then I went to Leicester, and it made me even more impressed by that. Like, Leicester is just a very nothing town. I don't want to be too mean about it, but just like a very working class, small city in the Midlands. And the fact that they won the Premier League, that must have been the greatest party ever. Like, that must have been the greatest upset in English football history. Like, those guys holding off Man City to win it. Man, that is wild. That is absolutely wild. But I was there doing the comedy festival, which was cool. Thank you to anyone who came down and saw me. It was a very ropey show. Previous guest of the podcast, Jared Christmas, was there, which is always what you dread as a comedian when a good comedian turns up to watch your show that you know is a bit garbage. But hey, we got through it. They seem to enjoy it, and I'm excited now to bring it to Brighton, hopefully after a couple of previews. Yeah, but no, I did a gig on the Saturday night just outside of Leicester in this place called Syston. I thought it was called Siston because that's how you would pronounce it if you read it. But no, of course, it's England, so it's got some weird pronunciation they all have just done for 1,000 years, and that's how it's called, Syston. And holy shit, it was like going into a time capsule and just living inside there from like the 80s. There was like a 1,000-year-old man DJing. There was a weird family downstairs, even though there was comedy upstairs, with a bunch of children running around and playing darts. Darts? When they're like 8? That's too young. That's too young to be throwing sharp things at each other. There was like a Fast and Furious video game machine, which I obviously adored. But yeah, it was like, it reminded me of country Australia. I've not been to like an RSL. They're called working man's clubs here, but in Australia they're retired servicemen's league clubs. And just these like weird carpeted bars where nobody really knows why they're there, but they're still there every day of their life. That is the place I describe. And I had a very interesting set because before I even got to the stage, these 4 dudes, there was like kind of 4 young people in the audience. They're all sitting at the front, and they just started laughing like uncontrollably as I walked by. Like, and it was just that kind of thing where it was like, it was about me, you know, how you know that as a human being, like they're laughing at me. And I was just kind of like, what's going on, fellas? And then they just couldn't breathe. They were laughing so hard. And I was like, seriously, what's happening? And they're like, where's your mankini? And they just lost it again. And I was like, mankini, like, do you think I look like Borat? And they lost it again. They were like, this is the funniest thing ever. This man looks like Borat. And then one of them's like, nah, he said you look like Freddie Mercury. And they lost it again. This is like the fun. They couldn't stop laughing. And I don't know if you know what I look like. You probably do, having seen the logo. I don't look like Freddie Mercury or Borat. I don't. I'm just also a man with a moustache. I don't think Syston allows moustaches. I think I was the first they've ever seen. And that should give you a rough idea of how the rest of the gig went. But it was interesting to be up in Leicester. It's just, those towns, I never know kind of what they're into, but it's interesting because in Australia, like the country towns, like very few of them have universities because we just, you know, it's a big country. There's a lot of different towns, and not everywhere needs its own university. Like that's just, it's unnecessary, given a lot of people out there won't go to university. They'll just work a trade, or they'll work on the farm, and like you don't need like an agricultural degree to work on a farm. Like you can obviously get one, but like there tends to be these like bigger centers where they have like all the universities. Whereas like every single one of these like small English towns seems to have a university there, just because that's kind of how it's always worked. They didn't like to travel too far. So like every town's got its little university. So you go through these towns where everyone looks kind of terrifying, but there's just heaps of students all the fucking time. So you put in a show, some students turn up, and it's normal. Even though in Australia you do a show out there and there's like no students at all. There's just rough farmers or kind farmers. There's both kinds of farmer. I've met them both, and neither particularly enjoy my comedy. But hey, they appreciate the fact that I'm there, and that's all I can ask for. Now, let's get to today's guest. That is John Hastings, Canada's John Hastings. We doubled up on the Canada last week with Phil Nickel, this week John Hastings. But John Hastings from Canada, lived in the UK for about 6 years, and now is a resident of LA. If you know what John Hastings looks like, being the most pale man in the world, I'm not sure how LA is going to go for him, but hey, he's moved on. And this chat was cool because John Hastings is one of those names that I had heard when I got into comedy. Like he's not much older than me, but it was just kind of established early. And I actually heard one of his jokes like 2 years before I ever met him. It was told by me to Aman Hachidi at the Adelaide Fringe Festival back when I used to go to the Adelaide Fringe because I hated myself. And the joke was, turtles don't use sex for pleasure. They use sex to establish dominance. Ladies and gentlemen, I am king of the turtles. That was a John Hastings joke. I probably butchered it, but I laughed a lot at the time. And it's cool to kind of get to know him through Edinburgh and have a chat to him today. But one thing, just before we get into the actual chat, I was curious about this. I don't know if you guys were, or you might have had a little bit of inside knowledge, but the Canadian flag, they've got their big maple leaf. And I was like, hey, but I'm pretty sure they're still part of the Commonwealth. I'm pretty sure they're still got the Queen of their head of state. But I was like, maybe I've missed it. Maybe I skipped a little beat in Canadian history there. But no, I was right. They are still part of the Commonwealth. They are not a republic. They're in the same zone as Australia, where obviously we have autonomy, but the Queen remains our head of state, or the Governor General remains the head of state, the Queen's representative, right? So I was like, so what happened to the Union Jack on the Canadian flag? I was like, surely they weren't just the first colony where they were like, fuck it, let's just put a big maple leaf on there. Let's not worry about the Union Jack this time. So I looked it up, and the Canadian red ensign was the flag of Canada. It's basically flag, Union Jack top left as usual. Then the background is red. So the background is red instead of blue for your Pacific Islands. And then they've got this little coat of arms there, which has got some maple leaves on it, some spears and shit. Just some classic old person shield coat of arms action. And it's called the Canadian Red Ensign. And it was the Canadian flag until 1965, when it was replaced by the maple leaf. So they were like, look, we're happy to be a part of the Commonwealth, but we want our own flag. Australia has had a few campaigns to change the flag, but none of them have been particularly successful. I think a lot of people in Australia are like, let's make it green and gold and put a kangaroo on there. I think that's kind of stupid. I'm not attached to the Union Jack at all, as you might gather by me calling this thing the Union Jack off. But yeah, the kangaroo is kind of shitty. Whereas the maple leaf I like. I think that's kind of nice. The maple leaf with the red and the white. I can get around that. But yeah, so that's the thing. That was the Canadian flag. They used to have the Union Jack and the ensign, the big red backgrounds. And naturally, like all good flags, since they've changed the flag, the old flag has become a symbol for racism. Isn't that great? I think like that's the one thing. Like you can change your flag to kind of progress your country, to like move over, and then any old flag will be taken over by racists. That's their whole thing. They love a good old flag. The Confederate flag. Even in Australia, where we've had the same flag the whole time, you might not know this, but there was a thing called the Eureka Stockade, which was essentially just kind of like a siege. I think it was like I don't think it was a pub. Maybe it was a pub. They were like in a hotel. They're in a mining town, and they were like kind of holding off the troops. I think the British troops at that stage. And they had their own little flag for the Eureka Stockade. They wanted independence. And that has also been co-opted by racists. But luckily in Australia, you can just use the Australian flag to be racist also. So, we got a lot of options there if you want to prove yourself a racist. Right. That's our little flag history. Some people like a bit of flag history. I hope you guys enjoyed it. What I want to do now is get into this episode. Before I do, thank you so much for listening. As always, if you do like it, please subscribe on iTunes. We're on Spotify. You can follow us there. And we now have a Twitter page. Yes, that's right. I finally did it. I bit the bullet and made the Union Jackoff Twitter page. You can grab it at the Union Jackoff. At the Union Jackoff. That will be where all the tweets with the upcoming episodes, any places you can see the guests, any of that stuff happens will be on that Twitter page. And of course, we're on Facebook. Or you can just get in touch with me at Dan Muggleton whenever you want. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to talk about Canada with the lovely John Hastings. Every Canadian is from Ontario.
Nah, mate. Well, that is true. Just like every fucking Australian is from Melbourne.
And I am not.
Yeah, you're from Sydney, right?
Correct.
The better city.
It's by far the better. Thank you.
Absolutely ludicrous that anyone from Melbourne claims they're the better city in Australia. And it's as soon as you arrive in Sydney, you're just like, what a better place.
Yeah, this is better. This is like, it takes 7 seconds to assess and be like, this is better.
Yeah, it's a better layout. It's nicer to look at.
Yeah.
Funner things to do.
That would be the only one where we could fall down. Sydney's getting very lame. It's a thing. It's like it's a movement by the government.
I'm not surprised, but that's happening in general everywhere. Is that all of the cool places because we're roughly the same age. Like you're how old?
29.
Yeah, so I'm 33, so we're still within the same sort of
same demo.
We liked the same cool shit that everyone was like, this is lame. That was older than us when we were in our early 20s.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So all of our cool stuff of our 20s has now become lame because all of our people have stayed there but have gotten older and are like, no, I don't want a rock club. I want a reasonable bistro. Right. Instead of moving to the bistro, they go, put the bistro here.
Yeah, I'm not going to move.
Yeah.
I like my spot.
It's fucked up.
There's a thing in Sydney at the moment where if a venue gets one noise complaint, they can no longer be like a live music venue.
Are you fucking joking?
And if people like move in after the venue, if you know what I mean, like the venue's been there for 50 years, I buy a house on that street next to the pub, like
that you should know.
It's not under like a big sheet. Like you're just like, oh, I wonder what's under that sheet. Oh, we'll figure it out later. Like no, like the pub with the sign. Like that, you probably did some research on the street, and they're like, "Sorry."
This is something I will totally give America. Is that America will essentially, California, where I've been spending some time, like they're unlike anywhere else where it's like it's loud. They'll be like, "Yeah, you should have known that."
Well, it's freedom, live free or die. That's
exactly.
That's
it's the
America.
Weirdest thing. Understanding because they are very focused on freedom, but it's very weird when you come from anywhere else in the world where you're like. You're really worried about that. That's where you're worried.
I think I like Americans.
I do too.
A lot of people are like, oh, America, it'd be cool if it wasn't for the Americans. And I'm like, nah.
That'd be fine.
They're great.
They'll figure something out. But it's like, it's still legal to talk on your cell phone and drive there.
What?
Yeah, because that's a personal freedom. You can't tell me when I can talk on the phone. That's limiting my ability to communicate.
Are you serious? It's just straight
100%.
Every
state,
legal. Every state. Or
California, Texas, both places I've been to, it's just, and it's fucking, like, we're talking texting. Texting, I think, is illegal, but that does not stop anyone.
Yeah, of
Things
course.
Like drinking and driving, you can't do checkpoints for.
I know that. That's the thing in LA. Everyone just drives drunk because there's no, like, is that the same in Canada? Like, in Sydney, we have the spot. Like, you just have like 3 cop cars. You have the guy on the road, like waving it in, and you just get tested because you're going by.
Not just spots. Like Canada is the world leader in drink driving. I will put it up against any other country.
Wait, is in the most drink drivers or the most enforcement out to get drink drivers?
Both.
Okay. Yeah, all right.
Because a lot of people are coming from small towns where it's literally like there is no other option. If you're going to get drunk, you're going to have to drive to the drinking.
That is country Australia. Yeah,
Country
absolutely
Australia,
right.
very similar idea.
Same diff, yeah.
But then Canada has rapidly become a nation of cities. So all those country people have gone into the cities and continued their drink driving ways.
But they're good at it, though. Have you found that? Like, the country drink drivers are, like, better than the city drink drivers.
No one's good at it.
Some people are better at it.
Just some people are better at not getting as drunk as you think they would be at 3 o'clock in the morning. That's all it is.
You think it's just a consumption issue.
It has nothing to do.
But what about those people who can drive stoned? Like, I've seen people drive beautifully when they're
Then they're not that stoned. Every story is, I was so fucking stoned and I was driving. It's like, when did you last smoke weed? Oh, about 3 hours before. So you weren't stoned. You were stoned 3 hours ago, and it started to wear off, and then you drove.
I like that your thing is just like, no, I don't believe the storyteller. Like, it's
because I've had to argue with so many people about this.
Yeah.
Especially in Canada, where they've just had 11 shots and they're going to drive. Because I don't drink and drive. I drove drunk one time, and it was so fucking bad. I literally woke, like I was at a house party, drank an entire bottle of Crown Royal, which is Canadian rye whiskey.
If you can see the hat John's wearing, this makes it more fun.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
And then I said to I vaguely remember asking a friend of mine, hey, do you think I can drive? And he was like, yeah, I think you're all right. And then I just came to driving with the trunk open. So I'm just like, never again. That was like my moment of like, nah, never.
Oh man. I think I've driven, well, Australia, like there's like, you know, driving drunk, and then there's when you think you'll be over the limit, even though, you know what I mean, you haven't had a beer for like 3 hours. But like, say you had a few.
Yeah,
like,
even
you know,
that,
so
I just don't do it.
Well, that's the thing. I only had the one, and this is like, this shows I should have been driving drunk. But basically, there was like the direct route to my house, but then I know like the 3 places where
the checkpoints will
where
be.
the checkpoints generally are. So I was driving, and I just did this like super long way around to avoid them all. And I'm like, granted, if you can pull that off, you're probably not that drunk. But also, if you're thinking about that, probably shouldn't be driving.
Well, yeah, and Canada, it's Christmas week is, they just set them up in the middle of thoroughfares. Like they've stopped having a system where they do it.
Well,
Like,
in Australia, that's the joke. It's like, if you want to drive drunk, do it during peak hour, you'll be fine.
Yeah, no.
No one's going to stop you.
Well, because in
during peak
Canada,
hour.
it is such a problem. It's a giant issue. People
Yeah.
are constantly dying as a result.
Right.
That they're just like, oh, fuck this.
Yeah, we're just going in hard. We're
Hard.
going for it.
Like, I'm talking, a couple of years ago, I was in Toronto visiting for Christmas and renewing my British visa.
Hey, there we go. Roll that.
And everyone was smoking weed and drinking whiskey. And they're like, have a whiskey. Just hang. I'm like, no, there's going to be a DUI checkpoint. And they're like, fuck off. It's not going to be a big deal. And I was like, trust me.
Yeah.
You're all going to want a nice ride home in minus 40-degree weather, or we'll be all stood at the side of the road.
In minus 40.
Yeah, well, my mom's car is impounded. We hit 3 checkpoints on the way back.
Jesus.
Because they don't fuck around. They're going, no. It's also, they make so much money.
Yeah. Because the fines are really high, right?
There's I think a roadside fine.
Yeah.
And then your car is impounded. Because the roadside test doesn't count. They have to get you back to the station and do it again.
Yeah, I've heard all the rumors about that, where you try and sweat it out as much as possible before the police station, you know? Like,
Yeah,
if you're ballpark.
Yeah, it's a bit of a problem. That's why you'll see it in Canada. There'll be a bunch of cruisers lined up.
Yeah.
And that's because, like, if they suspect it, you're going right in the car and they're shooting you to the station.
Right, so you got no time. You got no time to dodge. Interesting. Yeah.
A trick that someone in my life that I'm not allowed to say who told me, which is just breathe deep.
Yeah.
About 20 times, like, because all of the breathalyzer, it's alcohol vapor in your lungs.
Right.
So if you cleanse that, they have no way of telling, and they won't have probable cause to get you out of the car.
Interesting. And that worked for them?
Evidently it does.
Wow. Interesting. As I've heard, my friend was trying to pitch me this one in Australia, because like in Australia, is it the same kind of you count? Like you have the thing near you and you count to 5, or do you blow into a tube?
You blow into a tube.
So in Australia, you just count. Like they put like it next to you like a microphone, for example, and just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it goes beep, and then they get the reading.
Oh yeah, no, ours is a tube.
Okay.
And you're out of the car. Like if they suspect
Oh wow, we're in the car. We're doing a lane.
No, ours is that's straight out.
That's the Australian element of the roadside testing.
It's just I hate it. The one time
Don't get out of your car.
one
Just
time
let
I
you
had-
chill, mate. You'll be right.
I had a beer in super northern Canada.
Yeah.
And we literally between the hotel was across the street. I just had to come out of the parking lot. It was the only thing happening in that town, and there was 2 fucking Mounties. And I literally just finished a beer. I was like, "We're fucked." And then the other comedian just faked being eviscerated drunk.
Yeah.
Swore at the officer, and he was like, "Where are you going?" And I was like, "Right there." And they're like, "Great, get the fuck out of here."
Wait, so one beer is it 0 tolerance in Canada?
If you have one beer right away and start driving, you'll be over the limit.
But then you just tell them. You're just like, I just finished my beer. Then
Then
they
you're
wait.
getting out of the car, and then you've just admitted to your crime.
No, but then they wait half an hour to test you because it's not in your blood alcohol. You know, this is the thing,
No.
dude. I'm sorry. That's the thing. That's the thing.
But you're also saying that with logical, reasonable police officers. I know I'm dealing with fucking how do you do country yokel Canada cops that would be like, well, we just made our quota for the month.
Right.
Out of the fucking car.
Right. But then they test the blood and it doesn't come up.
Yeah, but okay, so I have to wait and go through all of that, or they'll just go, oh, it did. It's also, you are coming at it with a healthy trust for police. I trust city cops in Canada, country cops, not even a little bit.
I don't think I've even had any experience with country cops.
Don't trust them for a second.
Really? What is this? Like Fargo? Like what kind of vibe are we talking? Just kind of small town.
It's more like
craziness?
Smokey and the Bandit, just like,
Yeah.
you got some city boys, but not like that. They'd be, oh, I got some fucking city boys, eh? What the fuck, guys?
Okay.
Having a couple of beers with the boys? I don't fucking think so.
Is Canada still that heavy kind of masculine culture? Is that like a big part of it? You got to
100%. Very like hockey chest bump.
hunting?
There's some hunting.
Yeah.
Not
Hockey
as much.
chest
Like
bump.
hunting weirdly is not a like, it's not a political statement. It's more like, well, you live in the country, and if you could thin this out, that would be appreciated, actually.
Cool. That's the same as Australia.
Yeah, like it's not-
with the pigs and the kangaroos.
Yeah, like it's just like,
You get money for killing kangaroos in Australia. We've got too many.
is that true?
Yeah.
I have to say this. A, kangaroos are fucking assholes. And B, I was doing Adelaide last year.
Wait, why are they assholes first? I want. Why don't you like?
It's just the noises they make.
But they're cute. Like,
They're cute
you know.
looking, but and they'll run at you and shit like that. Like,
Yeah, I got punched by a kangaroo when I was a toddler.
that's the thing. It's like, fuck
Yeah.
off, kangaroo. It's our fucking island.
No, this is like in a zoo. My mum held me up. She's
No.
like, look, little Daniel. Here's the kangaroo, and the kangaroo was like, pop, and just like smacked me in the head.
Is that true?
Yeah, 100%.
At Sydney Zoo? Australia Zoo?
Not at Australia Zoo. That's in Queensland, by the way. Australia Zoo, Steve Irwin Zoo. Did you know that?
I did know that was Steve Irwin
There you go.
Zoo.
That was actually one of my favorite things ever. List of 10 people you didn't know were Australian. Number 4, Steve Irwin.
No.
that was
What,
a list.
What list?
Some American website.
Was number 1 Paul Hogan?
I hope so.
Number 2, Kath and Kim.
Yeah. Number 2, Kath. Number 3, Kim.
Kim.
There you go.
Number 4, Steve Irwin.
How nuts is that? Where did you think he was from?
What's even weirder is his kids are now doing a TV show and behaving exactly the way he did.
Well, Australia, I don't know if you know this, but Australia hasn't had any ideas in 30 years. So we're just doing the same shit on loop.
Canada and
We
Australia.
just don't want to freak any old people out. We don't want to think they're aging.
Are they just going to redo Priscilla, Queen of the Desert?
I assume they have. It's a stage show now, you know.
I thought it started as a stage. Was it just that movie?
It was the movie, then the stage show. I'm not an expert.
I don't know.
I don't want to go out of my depth on Priscilla Queen of the
I will
Desert.
say Priscilla, Queen of the Desert is a way better movie than you expect it to be.
I don't know if I've ever seen it.
It's really good.
I might give it a look in.
It's like
I'm not saying I won't.
It's like Rocky Horror Picture Show. You're like, I probably won't live up to the hype, and you're like, yeah, that's pretty good actually.
I haven't seen Rocky Horror either.
It's really good. Susan Sarandon's in her underwear, Meatloaf singing. It's a whole thing.
Oh, Meatloaf. He was great in Fight Club. I liked him.
He
there.
was great in Fight Club,
Yeah.
wasn't he? With his ridiculous tits.
Bob. Kangaroos are assholes. Adelaide.
So in Adelaide, and we went on like a night hike, and I didn't realize that a bunch of idiot comedians and performers would all get stoned at the top of the mountain.
Yeah, because that's like a significant artistic experience.
Boo!
Boo.
I boo you.
Thank you. I'm glad you're on board with that.
I don't care. And they all got stoned, and then it's like 1 a.m. We're walking back, and they're like, watch out for the kangaroos. And then everyone's all stoned and giggly and keeps taking flash photography of the kangaroos. And I'm like, They're going to fucking rush us. And then one did, because one was in the middle of the path and was like stomping and making that like...
Yeah.
And rushed at us. And everyone had to dive out of the way. And I was like, stop taking flash photography of the animal we are in its house. Like, fucking be cool.
Do you know why the kangaroo and the emu are on the Australian coat of arms?
I do not know.
They're the only animals that can't take a backward step.
Is that why?
I don't know if that's why, but that's true.
I hope that it would be a very Australia thing of like...
It feels true.
Yeah. Like,
as an Australian person who is somewhat, dismayed at that stereotype the whole time, that feels true. We would not take a backward step.
I was in Australia for Anzac Day, and it's the craziest thing because you guys, for some reason, have put together Remembrance Day and St. Patrick's Day.
Yes, correct. You're absolutely right. Anzac Day, 25th April. I used to earn a lot of money on Anzac Day.
Bartender?
No, I was, Two Up?
You were a two-up dealer?
I was the host. I was the host of Two Up. I was the youngest Two Up host in the goddamn world.
Can you explain two up to everyone? Because I don't know if the people listen.
You don't get to talk to everyone. Only I get to talk to everyone.
Just say
you're the guest.
Because everyone would talk about two up to me, and I didn't know what it was forever.
I will explain it. Oh, by the way, the guest is John Hastings from Canada.
Hi, everybody.
There you go. Two up. So the game of two up is you can have 2 or 3 coins, heads or tails, and the way that it works, you got a paddle that you put the coins on, and then you call it spinning. You let it come in spinner. You're the spinner when you got the paddle, and you flick it in the air. It's got to go above your shoulder. And it can't hit the ceiling, and the coins can't touch each other when they land. And if you get 2 of the same one up, then you win. It was played in the trenches by the soldiers during World War One. And now you bet on it for money.
And boy, do they.
Dude, it's wild. And the thing is, it's the best of any casino odds because it's 50-50.
Yeah.
So it's better than any casino game. And it's all cash. And the way that it works is no venue gets any money. So all the bets are between the people playing. So when I'm the host, I have to get the person to be the spinner, or I can spin it myself if no one wants to do that. And then I handle the side bets. I'm just kind of this guy's got 20 over here. This guy's got 20 on a head, 20 on a tail. You guys get over here. And you do all that. And then you're no more bets. And then everyone just, on a system, everyone just swaps money.
Holy shit.
The head, I think the head holds the money. Or maybe it's tails. One of the two holds the money. And then and you just go back and give it all back. And there's generally few incidences.
That surprises me because I was in Sydney for it, and people were.
Sydney is the only place that really goes hard.
Oh, for Anzac Day, Sydney is the...
Two Up is the big Sydney thing.
It was insane. Because I was with a bunch of comics doing a show the night before, and a ton of them were going to something called the Dawn Service.
The Dawn Service, yes. Not Dong Service.
No, Dawn Service, pardon me. And basically they're you start drinking at dawn.
Correct.
And you just keep going.
Correct.
It was fucking nuts.
Yeah. It's a wild day. And all the soldiers wear their uniforms. We didn't have that many, I don't think, compared to other countries. Not that many soldiers. But there
were a fair amount.
They all wear
that
their
parade
uniforms.
was all day. It was...
But that's their descendants and stuff. They wear the medals and shit like that.
But it was a lot of... Because Australia has fought in more wars than Canada at this point, I would say.
Maybe. I mean, we kind of jump in when you guys don't.
In the modern era. Because you guys went to Vietnam and we didn't.
Yeah. Well, Vietnam was closer for us. Yeah, but not that we should have been there either.
You're the lapdogs of America. And
yes,
you guys
we
went to Iraq, which we didn't.
Yeah, and Afghanistan. You guys go to Afghanistan?
We did go to Afghanistan.
Yeah, we went to Iraq, yeah. So, yeah, we get into it. But no, I'm pretty sure Anzac Day is the day of the Gallipoli landing. I'm pretty sure.
It is the day of the Gallipoli landing.
Yeah.
And which, for those you don't know... It's a pretty big deal in New Zealand and Australia because that was the day when Winston Churchill used everyone from Australia and New Zealand as cushions for bullets, basically.
I didn't know that it was Churchill till I moved here.
Yeah, it was Churchill.
I was just oh man, that was a screw up. And then I went to the Churchill Museum.
Yeah.
And it's Churchill playing Gallipoli, and I was motherfucker, well, that was you.
That's why Churchill was basically in the doghouse. That and a variety of other reasons until World War II.
Exactly.
If you read, it was a weirdly bad movie, but the book, The Darkest Hour, is fucking great because it's just about Churchill coming back in.
After that whole thing. That's why in World War II, they were we don't want anything to do with this dude.
No. That's why, because they were we need a fucking loon bag. Because Churchill's big thing and why Gallipoli was such a disaster is Churchill was there's a type of military strategist, but it's basically we go forward, we kill them all, and then we will win. It's they have 1,000 soldiers, we have 2. All right.
We go forward.
We're British. They're not. Those two will beat them all. And it's like, that's not going to happen, but we have to listen to them. And basically, long story short, Prime Minister Chamberlain the military wasn't cooperating.
Yeah.
They went to Parliament and were like, either you put Winston Churchill in charge and we go forward and fight Germany, or we don't, and we don't fight. And Parliament was like, no. And they were like, that's fine. These are our terms. They put Churchill in forward, and they won World War II. It's one of those fun things when, places like Britain and America go after countries for military coups, and then you look at any of the details of how Churchill got power in World War II, and you're like, oh, you mean like that military coup? You mean that one right
Not
there?
like that military coup.
But
this was more polite.
It's just why I find history fascinating, where you're just like, oh, aren't we all a bunch of hypocrites?
Oh, yeah, of course. It's the best bit. Well, the other thing, obviously, Gallipoli, that was the leader of the Turkish troops there, was Ataturk.
Shut the front door.
Yeah, man. Ataturk.
It's like finding out that Rick James was in a band with Neil Young.
Was it?
Yes, he was.
But yeah, so how weird is that? That was like, that spawned two kind of legends.
Holy
in their
fuck.
own countries.
Yeah, of course.
That was, Kemal Ataturk was the commander.
Fuck, yeah, because I'm sure Gallipoli is remembered very differently.
Well, this is the thing. Australians in Turkey, like, we do the dawn service in Gallipoli. Like, a lot of Australians go to Gallipoli every year. And like, yeah, there's a very mutual like respect.
Sort of a sorry about that.
Well, just like both, like, because both, they were allied with Germany, we were allied with Britain. Like, we didn't have any issue with each other, and like, yeah, it was a war that was fought in like on very good terms, from what everyone says.
Well, it's one of those things where it's a proxy war. It's why Canada has some really weird diplomatic bedfellows, as does Australia, because we're both countries that are used as like, Britain won't talk to these guys, America won't talk to these guys, but Canada and Australia go in and go, by the way, they're going to do this. What do you think about that? Okay. Like, Canada is hugely loved in Cuba.
Really?
Because Canada was the bridge between America and Cuba.
Get the hell out of here. So can you go, they got a nice little history.
Oh my
Canadians
God.
and the
If
Cubans.
you are Canadian in Cuba, they are very big fans. It's also, we've given them a huge amount of aid. And also the amount of Canadians that in winter go to Cuba and get fucked up.
Right.
It's our Bali.
Ah, okay. Cuba's your Bali.
Very much. That's actually, that or Cancun, not so much more. Very much Cuba is our Bali. Like, if you're in any resort in Cuba and you yell "Go Leafs, go!", half of the dudes will go, yeah, and the other half will go and call you a homophobic slur. Just as so many people just sunburnt.
Yeah. Wait, so go Leafs go. What's that chant for? That sounds like a kind of polite Canadian chant.
I like that. The Toronto Maple Leafs are, every country has their sort of like Manchester United in England, Australia. I don't know. Who would be sort of the big powerhouse of the most popular sport?
Collingwood.
So Collingwood. So the Collingwood teams.
Collingwood FC in AFL.
Yes.
There, baby.
Such a confusingly fun sport to watch.
It's the best sport. Best sport in the world.
There's so much hitting.
Yeah. There's a lot of everything going on.
Yeah.
But it's great. It's like, I think hockey and AFL kind of have that. Like, they seem, because I've watched a bit of hockey. People are like, no, you got to go live. You do,
because you can't see all of the ice.
Exactly. That's the same with AFL. You can't see all the field on the TV because it's such a long. AFL field's like 180 meters long.
Holy mother of fuck.
Yeah, because they're cricket pitches, and cricket pitches are like
because it was
60, 70, 80 each side of the pitch. So
it was developed as a warm up for cricket, wasn't it?
Yeah, like a sport for cricketers to play during the winter season. So they wanted it to involve like lots of running and hand-eye coordination. So that's why you can catch the ball and hand off the ball as well as kick the ball.
And so the Toronto Maple Leafs are sort of like Collingwood, Manchester United, and New York Yankees, which is they're sort of the franchise team of that sport.
Yeah.
And also, in the case of the Toronto Maple Leafs, are a woeful organization run by pieces of garbage. And every single one of their fans are horrible people, and if you could all walk into the ocean, that would be great. They claim to be a legacy team. Yeah. They have not won a championship since the fucking 60s, and they all can suck my asshole.
Oh, are they like, they're just like, where are the big shots?
Yeah, they fucking blow. They're terrible. They have some of the hottest players right now, and they still have had fucking terrible seasons. I fucking hate them all. Oh, they suck.
Are you from Toronto?
I was born there, but I grew up in Ottawa. I grew up in the capital.
In the capital?
Yeah. So if you've been to Canberra, literally Australia and Canada are parallel countries. It's just one is really cold and one is really hot.
Yeah, like the Seinfeld, Bizarro.
It's exactly that.
Yeah, Bizarro Canada, Bizarro Australia.
Hello.
Yeah.
But like if you go to Canberra in Australia, exact same vibe as Ottawa. Like government towns built to be the capital.
Really planned out, like that weird eerie Canberra thing where it's like everything's a big fucking circle.
Like Canberra is ridiculous.
Yeah. If you haven't been to Canberra in Australia, it was like Sydney and Melbourne couldn't decide on who would be the capital. So what they did is King Solomon it and put the capital halfway between both. Mm-hmm. And then they just designed this weird, like, it's going to be ergonomic, it's going to be natural, it's going to be like all this stuff and this town. And it's just creepy. It's just a creepy place. There's a big river and then everything else is like a concentric circle slowly spiraling out.
So weird.
Yeah. It's like...
I did go to Australian Parliament while I was there.
Australian Parliament? Like the new Parliament House or old Parliament House? Were they sitting?
Yeah, they were sitting.
Oh, okay. So new Parliament House.
The Senate was sitting.
How was that for you?
It was interesting. Like I grew up, my family's worked in politics, so I've grown up always going to those things. So
yeah, I met your uncle at the Fringe this year, didn't I?
Big guy, bald, glasses. Yeah, you would have. Yeah.
Is he in politics? He seemed political.
He was a diplomat for
there we go.
30 years.
Yeah, that vibe to him.
Oh yeah, that guy. Well, he literally lives his life like a municipal politician. Like he is shaking hands, kissing babies, little charm.
I got that because I met him the first day, and like obviously I just forgot him because like you're in your show and all that shit. And then next day he's like, Dan, how you going? Good to see you. And I'm like, oh boy.
And he does that. And by the way, he's there for 3 days and remembers everyone. I've been there going for 7 years. And he's like, nice to see Stacey again. And I was like, I've never met that woman in my life. And he was like, yes, you have. And I'm like, well, whatever. But yeah, Australian Parliament, very reverential. The one thing I thought was interesting was the fact that you open the door. There's like they can open the doors to where the Prime Minister's sitting.
Yeah.
And it looks on the war memorial, so they have to do that if he's voting for a war, apparently.
Oh, okay. I mean, that makes sense.
Some security guard told me that, and I was like, that's an interesting...
I like security guards because they tell you facts, but they also make up facts.
Oh,
that's a great perk of a security guard.
I'm sure that there's some part of that isn't true, but yeah, no, he seemed very factual.
Well, did you know? Just side note. This is my favorite political building fact: the Reichstag in Berlin.
Bring it on.
Have you been?
I think I've been outside of it. Yeah.
The Reichstag. So it's like their big political thing, and there's a glass ceiling, and if you go on like the kind of tour of the Reichstag. The thing is, you go to the glass ceiling. You don't go to the bottom bit. Mm. And so it's this glass ceiling. The politicians look up and they see you walking around up there. And it's to symbolize that they are below the people.
Damn right.
There we go. Huh? Huh?
Was the Reichstag, was that what burnt down and put Hitler in power?
Correct.
Yes. No,
Reichstag fire. Blame the communists. Classic 30s move.
And it possibly was him?
It was definitely him.
Well, listen... There's many things you could say about the Nazis. One of them is that they probably would have just been like, that was us, by the way.
No. Because then they'd lose the support of the people. Remember, they had the support of the people.
They barely had the support of the people. They got in on a 1% majority.
Yeah. But like,
it was exactly the same as Trump's election or Brexit. It was a populist movement that then happened, and then everyone went, oh, fuck.
Well, your family clearly has been in politics. Look at you referencing things.
I'm not praising...
Creating a wider narrative.
I'm not creating a wider narrative. That's just percentage fact of what happened with the Nazis.
But in the second election, they had a greater majority.
That's the problem with the German history, is that they all point that first election, and then when it comes back again, they were like, we like what this guy's doing.
Yeah, we're enjoying this bit. We never liked that building anyway.
Well, the fun, sad thing about Canada is... what country helped rebuild German infrastructure more than any other country?
Is that you?
It was Canada.
Really?
Built all the phone lines, put in all the communications.
In
stuff.
like the 20s
to 20s and 30s, yeah.
Wow. Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's a good fact.
It's one of those weird things of like, no one realized what they were doing until they turned around and went, oh, motherless fuck.
That's the classic nice Canadians. Like everyone would be, no one would know that. They'd be like, what a lovely group of people.
I honestly don't know where that stereotype comes from. I don't find Canada to be a particularly warm and nice place.
Well, see, I've never been, so I can't kind of judge, but every Canadian person I've met has always been quite lovely.
That's true, but you also have to take into account that you're meeting them...
The ones who leave.
Internationally. It's in the same way that Australians, like, if I went on what is Australia like, I'd be like, well, it's a very artsy, cool, cosmopolitan place, because all of the Australians I meet are people that have traveled and left and are adventurous.
Yeah. And then you go there and you're like, no, it's just a bunch of dudes watching sport.
So many criminals.
So many criminals.
Like just
What?
Australia has so many just for every person working in an office having a nice time, there's just two, not even bogans, just sketchy guys.
What are you talking about? We're like,
What are you talking
we are
about?
like the least criminal country.
No.
Dude, we got like such a low rate of incarceration.
That's fine.
The crime rate
And
is
I'm
really
also not
low.
going on
it's
the,
incredibly safe. Like
All
what
of
do you
those
want?
things are true. I'm talking purely vibe. There was always two or three people on any public transit. And this isn't like, oh, they were a penal code. I'm talking like straight up. You're just like, those three guys have jacked off in public. Like there is something to them. You're just like, oh.
It's because you're on public transport.
How else am I supposed to get around? How do you get around in London?
I get around in public transport. But
Exactly.
in London, everyone gets around in public transport. In Sydney, if you catch the bus, you're a low.
I'm not talking
you're
Sydney.
To steal a word from Luke Heggie, you're a lowbred. All right? You are.
I've seen Luke Heggie on the bus.
No, you haven't.
I certainly have.
You've never seen Luke Heggie
might
on
have
the
been a
bus.
van.
Yeah, there we go. A private
How did you get around Sydney if you...
car or walk. I think in my last 3 years in Sydney, I would have maybe caught public transport 4 times.
Good Lord.
Yeah. I would walk or get a bus. Oh, sorry, walk or get a drive or get an Uber.
Ridiculous.
It's like LA. You live in LA now.
I do live in LA now.
Do you catch the bus?
Yeah.
What? Get a car. Grow up.
No.
Do it.
I'm not going to. I did the math of it, and it is more expensive to have a car than to take Uber and Lyft every day.
Well, that's different. You're not on the bus. You get.
I also just take the bus because I'm like, oh, I'll just save the money. And I also bike everywhere.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying, some place in the world you need a car. London is not one of them.
London, if you have a car in London, you're an asshole.
Yeah. Exactly.
And also, by the way, LA, I kind of feel the same way. Because what's the weird thing about LA is, especially on a bicycle, they have an entire network of bike paths that no one uses.
Yeah.
So they're pristine and lovely.
Because it's hot.
It's great. Yeah, but you're from a hot place. Don't you want to get out there in that sun?
No, well, I mean, that's fine. But I'm just saying I could see like LA people being like, why would I want to sweat in public?
That's true. They do. They are very much like, we'll go for a hike, not break a sweat.
Exactly.
And yet for some reason shower again.
Yeah. They're a clean group. Actually, question. LA,
Answer.
how long have you been there?
4 months, September, October, November, December, January, 5 months.
Cool. Do you think you're better looking having been there for 5 months?
I have no idea.
You
What
don't
do you
know?
think?
I don't know. You look good. You look healthy.
I'm trying.
But I just think LA has that effect on people. It's kind of like Sydney has that. Melbourne, not so much. But like Sydney does, LA does.
It's an outdoors place. I will say that.
Yeah.
because both of those cities are outdoorsy.
Beach,
Beach.
sun, fitness culture. But I think LA, there's like even more, you know?
It is, but it's also a weirdly unhealthy place. Like,
But
I find there's less vegan option. I always go by vegan option because that's like a very sort of
are you a
mainstream.
vegan man?
I'm not, but I eat it a lot. I was a vegetarian for years, and I kind of go back and forth.
Sure.
But LA is weirdly not as healthy as you think it would be.
But I'm talking outwardly healthy, like not inwardly, not like the.
Oh no, that's what I'm talking about. Is that for every like amazing fitness model,
Yeah.
there's also just like a bunch of schlubby people. Because it's what's weird about LA that
Schlubby people.
no one talks about is it's the first place I've lived that is very much a blue collar working class city.
Right.
It's not. Everyone's perception of Los Angeles is Hollywood,
Sure.
and that's maybe 10 miles square of it. Like,
Right.
You see celebrities, but you see like downtrodden weird celebrities. I've ran into Bridget Nielsen like 5 times.
Bridget Nielsen.
I think she lives in my neighborhood.
The only thing that I remember about Bridget Nielsen is that Greg Giraldo joke on the Flavor Flav roast.
Oh, what was it?
If you want to stop making the same mistakes in your career, maybe you should just get your pussy sewn shut.
Greg Giraldo, I think, was the saddest death of any comedian for me. I loved his stuff so fucking much.
Yeah, he was great. That was yeah. Bridget Nielsen, your pussy's so big, Sylvester Stallone left his career in there. Oh man, pussy jokes. Not enough of them.
I love him.
I love a good pussy joke. But yeah, Greg Giraldo, that was very, very sad.
I will always be angry at Patrice O'Neill for dying 2 weeks later because he took all of the heat away from Greg Giraldo dying.
Taking that sweet thunder.
He did.
It's true. Because like Patrice was like, people, they wanted to be like, Patrice was like the man. Like there was like, he was always everyone's like kind of favorite within the industry for like being like him. Whereas Giraldo was like just this hard working machine.
What's crazy is I saw Patrice O'Neill live and he bombed really bad and it wasn't fun and interesting.
Yeah.
It was literally him sitting on a stool looking gross saying Montreal got no love for Patricky over and over again. And then it was just fucking lame. I'm gonna blow my nose, fam.
Gonna blow your nose. This is what I'm covering for you. But no, like, what? Struggling. We got John struggling with a paper towel here, going throughout my apartment. I appreciate that you haven't commented on the coffee table's weird position. I was concerned about that.
I like it.
It's askew because my girlfriend's got into this thing called couchercise.
What in the world is couchercise?
Couchercise. You do exercise, but it incorporates the couch. So like you kind of.
Have you thought about just buying her a gym membership, man?
I can't afford that kind of. We got kettlebells. Look, we got kettlebells in the house.
I do like a nice kettlebell.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
a good workout strategy.
It's nice, but no, couchercise. She loves it. It's like a YouTube video. It's like 8 minutes.
I don't go in. I still think it's just like just go to the gym for an hour.
No. I like the video. I like where there's stuff. I like because it kind of tells you what to do and it tells you when you're done. That's what I like.
Yeah, but just set a timer for an hour. Go and lift some heavy stuff and run for a bit, and then you'll feel better.
I guess. I don't know.
Like it's hard and annoying, and no one has. Anyone who goes, "I love going to the gym every day." Well, you are capable of murdering a human being.
That's the test.
Yeah, you have.
That's like the
you have it
sociopath
within.
test.
You have it within you to slice a throat and go, "I feel nothing but satisfaction." That's just a hard and firm fact.
I just get annoyed when people like see a really buff dude and they're like, yeah, but anyone can do that.
Not anyone can do that.
Not anyone
Anyone
can
can
like
do that.
Every day, gym.
It's also
eating.
The diet is the crazy thing.
Everything, and it's just like anyone can do that. It's like, dude, I guarantee there are like 3 TV series you still haven't finished watching.
Yeah, you have to understand you'd never get to eat cake again.
Yeah, like
there's some bodybuilders.
No beer. People are like, no beer. Just can't.
Straight up no alcohol.
Yeah.
Like I have a friend who's a pro wrestler who I think Colt from Edinburgh.
I think I met him like once or twice, yeah.
And he's like yoked but no steroids. And he's very, very vigilant of his diet. And he's not had French fries this decade.
Ooh.
Because you just can't. He's like, it's not worth the effect that will have on my body. Like,
there's
no skin on chicken, no sauce, dabbing the oil off of the chicken. It changes your relationship with everything.
Yeah, who wants to live like that? Like he's a jack dude. He looks like whatever, but like nah, 100% not worth it.
Pro wrestler, so it's also there's a safety element involved.
I get there's that as well.
Yeah.
But just like those dudes who are just huge for no reason. You're just like, what?
I can see it. A lot of friends of mine have stopped drinking and doing drugs and have gone through that phase.
Yeah.
And I see why. I'm just like, oh, this is just your new drug.
Ah, right. They replace.
Yeah, absolutely.
They replace it. So I just thought you were just being like, they've just given it up. But I've seen people like that. Have you seen that thing where it's like a late 30s dude who stops drinking and then 2 years later he looks like an early 30s dude?
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck, I should really stop drinking. But it's not worth it.
But it's also, they also will lie. They will also tell you that they probably have also gotten some skincare regime going.
Yeah.
And certain things like that. They've changed their clothes. They've changed their attitude.
Yeah, it's true. It does tend to go, well, when you're not hungover, it's much easier to put on lotion.
100%. Like, I've really cut down on drinking like crazy just because I got hit by a car last year, and then I don't know what happened between the surgery and like meds and stuff like that, but I started getting like, if I'd have a beer, it would feel like my stomach was on fire.
Right.
So it's just not work. And I don't like wine and I don't like spirits, so I'm just like, well,
I guess here we are.
Yeah, I guess I'm done.
But like you're in LA, so you like smoking weed instead? Is that
I cannot do it. I've tried so hard, Daniel.
Tried to go to LA and smoke weed. I couldn't do it.
I want to like it. Everyone seems to be having a nice time. I just get a panic attack and then have nightmares.
See, That's very unfortunate.
It's so annoying.
Firstly, but I think this is why people have the stereotype of like the nice Canadians. You know, you're allergic to alcohol and weed scares you.
Like it doesn't scare.
So
I
you're
used
just
to,
a nice sober person
I
with your soy
used
coffee.
to love weed. I don't know. I know exactly what happened is they kept making it stronger and stronger because everyone's a fucking loser and can't just stay in a fucking rowboat. They have to get into a goddamn speedboat. What happened to you smoke a joint and any movie is a bit better than it should be? That's all I'm looking for.
That's all you want in a joint.
I'm not looking to fucking see things. I don't want to be Joe Rogan.
Like, instead of smoking a joint and watching a movie and having it be a bit better than it should be, why not just watch movies that cast The Rock? Because then that movie is a bit better than it should be.
If you're sitting there thinking, I haven't watched this entire cinematic oeuvre, you're
you're
living in a fool's paradise, my friend.
I knew there was a reason we're sitting down. Good man.
That guy should be the president. I've said this forever. He's the 5th most popular person on social media. 5th.
Jesus.
Has the greatest story. He grew up as the son of 2 essentially carnival workers, 2 pro wrestlers.
Yeah.
His grandmother was the only female wrestling promoter on the earth. His dream was dashed because of an injury, so he couldn't go into football.
His knee. He did his knee, right?
Yeah, he did it in his knee.
Yeah.
And became the champion of wrestling,
Yeah.
the WWF World Champion, in 3 years, which no one has done.
3 years. I didn't realize it was that quick.
From the first day he got in the ring with his dad, and his dad was like, here's some moves, to 8 weeks later when the WWE was like, let's take a look at this kid. And they were like, how long have you been training? He was like, he showed me some moves, and they were like, come with us right now. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. I fucking love him.
The Rock.
Some rumors that he's gay as well, which I think are weird.
I think.
Do you find that weird now that we're at this place in society and yet celebrities reach a certain status and someone in a bar will say like, he's gay, right? And you're like, what? Why does that fucking matter?
Yeah, that is weird. I don't know why. It's like I think they want you to think that they know something.
Yeah,
like, that's the vibe. It's like it's not even about the thing. It's just like no. Like you want to talk to me.
That's such a great point. That's exactly what it is. He's like, I got the straight dope. Yeah.
It's just the vibe of like, no, like, come on, talk to me.
Yeah.
I know interesting things like this rumor.
Yeah, that's such an odd rumor. Like, yeah, he's gay. I'm like, well, who cares? Like,
yeah,
cool.
It is.
If anything, that makes him even more amazing.
The whole time.
Yeah. Even though if you've read either of his books, which I have, he talks about
he's written 2 books.
I think he's written 2.
Okay.
No, I'm confusing him with Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's written 1.
Yeah.
And in that one book, he talks about liking threesomes a lot. And in a way, you're like, oh, he's done that. Whenever someone uses the word "she was game," you're like, oh yeah, you're into sex like it's your hobby.
Yeah. You're still an athlete somewhere. She was game.
Still competing.
It's never like a poet being like, yeah, brought this girl home after the reading. She was game.
Oh no.
Yuck. All right.
I don't think you said it before we started. You were going to ask me some questions. I think we've just been chatting for however long we've been talking for.
40 minutes.
Holy Lord in heaven.
Right?
I like it.
Time flies. No, we do well. No, sorry. The one thing I was going to ask about, because this was, you got heckled by Dennis Rodman.
Yeah, it's quickly becoming my the Freebird of my podcasting career. Yeah.
Well, no, just
what do you want to know?
Not so. Just like how early on in the comedy career was this? How? Because you've been going
2016. It was in 2016.
Oh, okay, so it was recent.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got the impression that you were like a real new.
It's so fun that this thing has taken a life of its own.
Yeah.
There's also a rumor that somehow has started that there's actual video. It's a cartoon on the internet that I had the audio from my phone that was recording the set.
Right.
Animated.
Right.
And there's now a rumor circulating that I've heard that Dennis Rodman had the actual footage taken down. And I had this made as a workaround.
Nice.
Which isn't true, but I'm also not going to deny. That's 100% true, that rumor, by the way.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. You were telling me not to mention that.
Exactly.
But, you wanted to mention it.
We're not winking at all.
Yeah. No, because like that just seems like a really odd. Was this in LA?
Yeah, it was in the belly room of the Comedy Store, which
Right.
I've since been told that you're not allowed to acknowledge or address celebrities when you're in there. The issue with it was he was yelling at every fucking comedian, and it's Dennis fucking Rodman.
Yeah, because I looked into Dennis Rodman as a result of hearing this rumor. Because I didn't know how weird he was.
That's interesting because if you're not North American from the 90s, you would not understand the cultural significance of Dennis Rodman.
Yeah.
He was our Kanye.
Yeah. He was like super strange, like heaps of wild rumors, like law, like incidents with the law.
Bunch of run-ins with the law, married
Yeah.
Carmen Electra. They got divorced
Yeah.
because she caught him having a threesome and he said, "No, I'm not," while fucking 2 women. Like, and here's the crazy thing about Dennis Rodman. Like all those other people that and they fucked up their career.
Yeah.
Dennis Rodman still holds the record for most rebounds in the NBA. And it's
Yeah.
a record that is so unnecessary, no one's going to break it.
Yeah, because that was all he could do. That was like the thing. It was just like he was just a beast.
He was a beast
on the boards.
He was a beast on the boards, and also he was with a team, which was the late 90s Bulls.
Yeah.
So him,
Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan.
That they needed that guy to stand underneath, and then the other fucking schlubs who were on the team, who the fuck were they?
One of them, Australian basketballer Luke Longley. He was the center.
Was it Luke Longley?
Luke
Holy
Longley.
shit.
There you go.
picture him.
Australians know exactly when we succeed as a nation.
I can even picture him now stood next to Phil Jackson.
Yeah, just a real lanky white dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had that terrible haircut at one point.
Oh,
didn't he?
yeah, he would have, yeah. For sure. When have Australians ever had good haircuts?
Paul Hogan. First and last.
Who's the Canadian equivalent of Paul Hogan? Just quickly before we get back to Dennis.
Oh, William Shatner, maybe?
Is he Canadian?
Yeah. See, the thing with Canadians is we have a shitload of celebrity. Our celebrity game is deep.
Yeah. Were you Barbara Streisand, Celine Dion?
Celine Dion, Barbara Streisand is from New York, obviously.
Is she?
Yeah, that's why every movie she's in is about growing up in New York.
I haven't seen any movies. I thought she was Canadian.
Nope.
I don't know why. What?
Celine Dion, Mike Myers, Dan Aykroyd,
Alanis Morissette?
Alanis Morissette from my hometown. She's from Ottawa.
Really?
Yes, her dad was the principal at the school in the neighborhood next to mine. Bob Morissette.
Bob Morris.
Also, when Alanis Morissette became popular, every girl in every class at my school claimed to be her cousin. And I was 10, and even then I remember being like, "You're all just lying. That's not true."
Just let him have it.
No. One of them
Come
was a real
on.
bitch about it, too.
Do you want to raise that beef?
I was
now, or do you
about to
wanna
say her
let it go?
name and be like, "I bet you're still an asshole."
Oh man.
Because
Well,
Ottawa is one of those places where most of those people are still there, living in that neighborhood, like
Sure.
playing out the same political bullshit from high school.
Yeah.
Now, 17 years later, or whatever the fuck it is, 15 years later. Yeah.
Is it a small town? What's the population, Ottawa?
It's 1 million people because they moved the city limits to encompass a bunch of small towns to bring it to 1 million.
Nice.
Because it was really embarrassing how small the capital was.
And is it just like political workers who work there and a few
gov-
random people?
Yeah, government workers and things that support the government. So like,
And then just like a few random, like
yeah,
any of
like-
those towns.
like weird, like a weird tech company was there for about 10 years that
Yeah.
went tits up and stuff like that. Yeah,
And you grew up there.
grew up there, baby.
And then Justin Trudeau, was he around? The Trudes?
He was not around. He was still being a ski instructor.
Lovely.
Fucking hate him. His dad was around. His dad was in Montreal.
Yeah.
Because his dad was a prime minister as well.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I can tell you a story about him off of the air.
Oh, okay.
Because you can find what I'm going to tell Daniel in other places, but I got yelled at by my family for continually to air laundry in public that we're not supposed to talk about. So-
Right. Is your family in the politics? Is that
Not really. My dad worked for has nothing to do with it. My dad worked for the successor of Pierre Trudeau, a guy named John Turner. My
Yeah.
dad was his sort of assistant dude guy.
Yeah, gotcha.
And worked within the Liberal Party on again and off again for many, many years.
All right, what are your parties called?
Liberal, Conservative, New Democrat, the Bloc Québécois, if they're still around.
What are the Bloc Québécois?
Bloc Québécois was the Quebec separatist party within the federal government.
Interesting.
That at one point, by the way, was our majority party, or the minority, the opposition party.
Jesus.
Yeah,
They had a bit of hate for a while.
Well, it's
there.
because Quebec at one point had such a huge population base, they could elect them and they would be the majority.
Oh, so Quebec's quite a large
Second largest province
after Ontario.
after Ontario.
Wow. Okay, I did not know that about the size of the Quebecians.
It's huge. It's all adjusted now because a shitload of people left because it's economically unstable. Because they keep claiming they're going to leave. But,
right, and everyone's like, "Ugh."
well, they're not. You're fucking not. You lost twice. Of course, the second one, there was definitely some gerrymandering in that election. But you know what? I was on the side of the winner, so I'm fine with it.
Taking the win. Taking
Yeah,
that
I'm
win
taking
home.
that win.
Nice.
It's only cheating if you're not the one doing it.
Yeah, if you get cheated on.
Exactly.
Exactly right. Wait, so... And then you grew up in Ottawa, but then did you move to somewhere else in Canada, or did you come straight here?
No, I went to university in Montreal. So
University of Montreal.
I lived in the French part for 5 years.
Do you speak any of the French?
Un petit peu n'est pas très bien. A little bit, not very well. Lived there for 5 years and then started comedy there, which was great, with Deanne Smith, who you would also know from Australia.
Deanne Smith, very, very popular in Australia.
It's a very weird group of people because none of us... Because the thing is that it wasn't like there was like comedy clubs to give us advice. It was kind of we just started trying things.
Yeah. What bit of Wild West vibe?
Bit of a Wild West vibe.
Nothing built, just do your own
Nothing
thing.
built, and they also needed new comedians because there hadn't been a batch for a while. So we all started working in clubs right away.
Like really early.
Like within the first year, I was hosting weekends and stuff like that.
Oh, wow. Which, for anyone who isn't super up on the comedy game, usually it's like a few years.
Yeah,
At least.
I look back and being like, what the fuck were they doing?
So did everyone just like die? And like one... Like, what are those things like in the
No,
medieval
but you couldn't
days?
die
like
or you wouldn't be...
The king dies and you're 3 and they're like, well, you're the next in line.
It was kind of like that, yeah. Like, it's like there's no other option. So these ones are hosting shows now.
There's no other options apart from John Hastings. Let's get him on. Let's get him on the
It was
stage.
like Christoph Davidson, who you might have met. He was in Australia a bit.
Don't know that one. Got nothing.
Ask Sam Campbell about him. Sam Campbell and I had a fun bonding of like, wait, you know Christoph? And I was like, yeah. And yeah, there, and then moved to Toronto for 3 years. And then moved here in 2012 to London town.
To London town, 2012. Then you spent a 5 stretch here.
6 stretch solid.
6. Oof. Solid.
Solid.
No go backsies.
I'd go back to renew my visa once a year.
And that was it.
That was it. And a bit of Australia in there, but most of my career was here for 6 years.
In the London. Okay. So that was...
And it destroyed me.
Really?
It was really hard towards the end. I was really unhappy because I watched Brexit happen. I was here before.
So Brexit like kind of hit you in the soul.
Absolutely. They fucked up their country. I have no sympathy for any of them. They fucked it up.
Right.
And all of the Remain people should have fucking chucked Jeremy Corbyn out of power, that old bag of shit. And you put in an actual opposition to something you don't want it to have happen.
Yeah.
Everything that's happening right now is a direct result of people either being too egotistical to understand what is going on or too stubborn to understand what is going on. You have economically collapsed the strongest currency in the Western world, you dumb fucks. Do you understand that the day before Brexit, it was almost 2.5 to 1 to the Canadian dollar and 2 to 1 to the American dollar, and it's now on par with the American dollar in 2 years, and it's basically been on par since the day of Brexit. They can all fucking suck my dick. Oh, Brexit broke my heart.
Is it on par with the American dollar here?
On par with the American.
Jesus.
Anytime they say we'll stay within the European Union, by the way, it spikes up almost $1, and then they go, "Oh no, we're not."
Ugh.
Because people are fucking children and they don't like being told what to do because they don't understand what the European Union is. You babies. You're a bunch of babies.
I mean, if you've had to hang out with like Belgian people, you would want to leave. Like, I get that.
Yeah, but don't fucking talk to them. Just reap the benefits of your... Remember how you didn't have motorways until the 90s, you fucking backwards shithole?
John's actually doing a couple of shows in London the next 2 nights.
I certainly am, and you can come and hear me say these exact same things, and if you do not like them, you are invited to go kill yourself.
This is a powerful political message.
I guarantee I'm going to be right. In 100 years, this era of history will be looked on as the time that England fucked themselves.
In the same time period where Trump is in America.
And I guarantee America will weather the storm so much better than the British.
Interesting. I'm just impressed that you care about the country like this, because the Brexit for me, I'm just like, it's like kind of like seeing a car crash with no one involved that you know. You're just kind of like, yeah, whatever.
It's because I was here before, because I arrived in 2012.
Yeah.
There were still in austerity measures from 2008. And I saw the country rebuilding itself. Things were going back to being built, and there was hope within the nation. I was here during the Olympics, and London was changing over. It was still an affordable place to live. It was becoming a modern place. London, when I first came in 2011, it wasn't super foreign, but there were a lot more differences between here in North America or here in Australia than there originally were. It was a very foreign place.
What kind of stuff?
Just like the products, the culture. It wasn't. It sounds crazy, but 7 years ago, the world was a very separate place. The internet wasn't
as
entrenched and as uniting in everything that we sort of realized.
Yeah, we weren't all looking through Facebook's funnel.
Exactly, for lack of a better term. And I watched that totally change, and then in the middle of it, I know why.
Yeah.
A bunch of young people panicked because they thought I was told I didn't have to work and life was going to be easy, which no one actually told you that. Yeah. And a bunch of old people panicked because they didn't recognize the smells that were coming down the street. So we got to fucking teeth these brown people out that have been here since the fucking 70s. So they committed Brexit and fucked it all up.
But they've been to Europe, right? Like they know there are no like brown people in Europe. Like they're not getting rid of those people.
They haven't been to Europe. And by the way, like you see it rolling now with Nissan in Sunderland, which was one of the biggest majority leave voting cities. They're moving towards closing that plant. Like it's going to economically destroy this country.
Right.
Which was my home for many, many years. And it's one of those things where I feel I have a soft spot for it. There's a lot of things about England that drive me crazy, but it was still a place where I learned a lot and I grew a lot as a person, and I didn't see that happen.
Yeah.
And also because were you here the day Brexit happened?
No, I was where was I? I remember the only real impact of Brexit for me was I was just about to book accommodation in Edinburgh, and Brexit happened, and then I waited 2 weeks and then I transferred the money because the conversion rate was fucking beautiful.
Oh, the conversion rate must have been an absolute delight.
It was awesome. It was just like, hey, you know that thing that's usually like $3 to the dollar, like
it was
$3 to the pound.
$1.50 to it.
Yeah, it was amazing. Like, saved so much money for this guy. On a very personal level, Brexit's been quite beneficial.
100%, by the way, which is also the stupid thing is it's now they're just all fucking ridiculous.
I've never seen you bothered, I think, in my life until this conversation.
It's very funny. People say that a lot about me. They're like, "Oh, we've never seen you get nervous. We've never seen you bothered." And it's like, well, you've caught me at some very rare moments because I am constantly nervous and constantly like, this motherfucker.
But this is like the most involved I've ever seen.
It's one of those things where I just really fucking hated it. I hated it so much.
Is that why you left?
It was
a part of it.
It was a part of it. I was gearing up to go anyway. I'd always wanted to sort of explore working in the States and build my career there. But when it happened, I was a little bit like, good fucking riddance. Because also, by the way, I thought Hillary was going to win. As did everyone.
Yeah, everyone was like, well, certainly didn't think Trump was going to win. I don't think anyone before that electoral cycle was like ever like, who's probably going to be president? That'll be Donald J. Trump.
It was the day of the election when I started to see him winning in some states where I was like, this might not go well.
Yeah.
And then it was at by 6 o'clock UK time, by 1 o'clock here, I was in Leicester and he was winning a lot, and I was like, oh no. And then I went to the Hackney Working Men's Club where Tom Tuck was running this thing where comedians debate American politics. It's very stupid. And I got violently drunk.
Sure.
Yeah. Violently drunk and went home and unclogged my toilet. I remember that.
The drunk toilet unclogged.
Someone had
got the
texted
plunger
me
out?
at 3:30 in the morning being like, I just used the toilet and it's all clogged. I was on the way home and there was a 24-hour grocery shop and I went and bought 2 bottles of declogger.
Lovely.
Unclogged my toilet.
Like Drano? We talking Drano?
Yeah. I don't know if you've noticed this. No one puts plungers in their bathrooms in the UK.
Yeah. Which is interesting given that it's quite poor plumbing here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The assumption there is that I don't know what they're doing. It's also, do you find that you smear the bowl a lot more because there's a lot less water in the toilet?
I would say pretty consistent. Like not...
Consistent smear or inconsistent
Like
smear?
Consistent with Australia. Like I haven't noticed an increase or a decrease in the smear here.
I've noticed a direct increase in smear.
I think the European toilet is the one that freaks me out the most.
Which one?
Like the display toilet. I call it the display toilet. Because there's like majority of the bowl is like flat.
The German one where it's
Yeah.
like it's over top, so it's like, look what you've done.
Here it is.
Yeah.
And then you press the button and it kind of like pushes it off like a water slide.
Yeah, I don't like that at all.
Yeah.
I like a nice North American filled to the brim with water.
See, as an Australian, I'm like, that's a waste of water. That's unacceptable.
Sure it is. Yeah, sometimes we're wasteful as people.
No, but just like
You're in Australia. Homes are wasteful. You should be living outside.
Well, look, we have a history of that we try to ignore.
Yeah, that you guys have done a great deal of effort to murder. Yeah, Brexit was really fucked up. And it was a part of my thinking. And it was also like the months afterwards, people were directly hostile towards anyone who was not British if they felt that because they thought they'd won. They thought there was this great victory.
So it was like kind of like a nationalist movement
Absolutely.
thing where it's just like, oh, what accent's that? Get out of here.
I had the Nottingham Glee.
Right.
A guy told me to go home. And I said, no, I'm going to go to your home and fuck your mother, you piece of garbage. And he got up to rush the stage and security tackled him. Like it was fucking, and it was near constant. You talk to like Uber drivers or taxi drivers and all of these people that were going, oh, it's a good thing. And they didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
A friend of mine voted to leave Europe because he didn't like the fact that the European Union has an army. Here's the one problem. They don't. And it's just,
man.
Sign of the times. But I do think that the world will be better off in the end if Britain ever figures out what the fuck they're going to do. If they go back on it, which I think they should,
Yeah.
I think the world will be better off if and when Trump leaves. Whoever follows Trump, I think, will be very progressive in their views.
But do you think Britain can go back? Like in my head, it's kind of like, that would be pretty huge. That's like what they've done is like the scissors paper rock, and the one side's won, and they've been like, no, it's best out of three.
Yeah, they
like,
can definitely go back. They can do, but it's one of those things where if they don't, there is a possibility flights won't be able to take off at the end of March. There's a possibility that there's no food coming in.
Wow.
Like trade deals aren't these like fall out of the sky. If you do not have the European Union trade deal, which is your closest trade partner, where by the way everything that we have is made there, then what the fuck are you gonna do?
Look, I'm just a simple Australian boy. We get our produce from Australia
I
because we're too
understand.
far from everything.
And you might be walking back there coming March 31st.
I'm allowed to stay. The Commonwealth, it's open.
That is
baby.
very true. That is the one benefit of being part of the Commonwealth.
Commonwealth.
I also do think that you're going to see a huge spike of youth immigration going the other way for the first time. Like how a lot of Australians and Canadians come here for a couple of years.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see a lot of British people going there.
Are we in Canada? What kind of visa can they get to go? Do you know?
Same one as the one you got to come here, or I got to come here. Because are you on like a 2 year? Yeah, it's the same one.
Really? In Australia, we don't give them that.
You don't give them that?
How fun's that?
That's very cool.
Well, like fuck you, dude.
What do you give them?
They get a year, and then if they want to stay for another
They have to
year,
work on a farm.
3 months.
What is that work on a farm thing?
I don't know. I probably bring it up on this thing a lot. I still have never done I don't know. Like, I don't know why we thought, who'd be a great unskilled laborer? British people.
So, but it's us saying you do the same thing with Canadians, is that you have to work on a farm.
We do it with everybody, apart from Americans. I think they get a different deal.
Weird. And also, a lot of people apparently don't actually work on the farm.
Most of them do. If they're on that visa, like, there's no really way to get around it. Like, as far as I know, like, you might not be like picking fruit from a thing, but like you'll be like maybe in a factory, like sorting something.
It's so weird.
But you like live on the farm, like you live out there. I mean, I think it's cool because
it's a little rustic.
Yeah, because like, if you're from England, like you've never seen that. Because like I still can't get over it. Like this country is just a big garden, like just a really fucking big garden. Like there's nothing untamed. Like everything's been landscaped at some point.
It's so small.
But isn't that nuts?
If we drove due north for 7 hours,
yeah,
we'd hit water. We'd be in water at 6.
Yeah, I know, but like even then, like there's still a lot of stuff. I know it's been like a long time and a long history of farming. Whereas in Australia, obviously it was like nomadic, so it's only like 200 years of like tilling the land or whatever. But still, in Australia, most of it, like the vast majority of it is untamed.
Also, Australia has this weird thing where there's just a bunch of parts where the environment goes crazy, and you like, isn't there a whole part of it that there's a part of the year where there's just flies everywhere?
Yeah, there's like moths.
Yeah, like what? You just don't go there.
We got moths.
But people still live there.
Yeah, you got to live there. They're just a couple of months, mate.
No,
close the door.
But there's one part where it's literally just like it's a fog of flies for like 5 months.
I don't think that's true. That sounds like an exaggeration. I don't know. I don't quote me. I'll look it up.
It's like
as always, I put things at the back of the pod. So
like it was above, like going above Perth. Someone said.
I mean, there's like wet season and shit, but that wouldn't be flies. That'd be the opposite of flies.
Yeah, it would be the opposite of flies because they can't fly in rain.
Interesting. I don't know, but yeah, I
have the same problem because it's coming from Canada, where you're like, what do you mean? Like the idea that someone will say, "Oh, we're driving for 2 hours. It's a really long distance," is like, what are you talking about?
But it's starting to shift. I got a 4-hour drive coming up this week, and I'm like, oof.
Yeah, you do.
4 hours each way. That's rough.
What's weird is you think so, and then you do it, and you're like, that wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's odd though. Because do you drive or are you a passenger?
I'm passenger.
See, I think that's also always longer.
Yeah, I much prefer to drive.
Of course. I also driving solo. Fantastic.
Yeah, I enjoy solo. Do you make a call? You a caller?
Oh, I love it. That's exactly what you do. You get that phone.
Tooth it.
Well,
that phone.
You also don't like you live away from so many people in your life that aren't comedians or you live here with your girlfriend.
Yeah.
But it's the perfect opportunity to like get your mom on the phone, get your dad on the phone.
Yeah, I'm trying to be better with that. When I'm on the train now is when I make the majority of my phone calls.
That's balls. That's good. You have excellent reception on the train if you're able to get phone calls out.
Yeah, dude. Like, what are you talking about? It's pretty good.
Oh, mine always.
Maybe I'll give a shout out. EE, pretty good.
No,
like,
that's all right.
I've had no complaints with them.
I go 3 network just because it works internationally.
Yeah,
and you can keep it alive for like £1 a month. So I can
that's good.
Keep my UK number going.
These are the handy tips people are looking for more at in the pod.
The only reason is because a guy at a Carphone warehouse in 2012 told me that and just got me this deal.
Do they have Carphone Warehouse here?
Yeah, I think it's a British company.
Really? I assumed it was an Australian thing. It sounds like an Australian thing.
It's just
come to the Carphone Warehouse like that.
Yeah, the Carphone Warehouse, man.
Yeah,
exactly.
All right,
Cat.
Yeah,
that's the one thing with Australia is you guys do just sound so stupid sometimes. Even though you're not, like it'll be someone discussing Chaucer and be like, hey, the lady of Bath, she was a real fucking cunt.
Mate, I completely disagree with that. I think, I mean, actually,
Canadians, by the way, are no better.
No.
Anything that besides the neutral Canadian accent sounds like we don't know how to read.
But I think we both sound a bit simple, whereas like Americans sound stupid. Like that's the difference. Like we're kind of like, just like, oh, are you telling me some guy wrote a book 400 years ago? Like that,
Maybe. But again, American. But like when you say American, like which, like the base American accent, or are you going Southern?
Probably West Coast accent. I think sounds the dumbest.
Bruh.
Yeah, I'll
By
never.
the way, I've been on the West Coast for 5 months. I've yet to meet someone that actually speaks like that.
Yeah, because the LA, everyone's just crushed in.
But I don't think anyone.
Where did I go? Santa Monica? No, there's a place up. Fuck,
San Francisco.
Remember. No, it's San Francisco. In between.
Santa Barbara.
Santa Barbara, probably. Is that a small town?
Yeah, small.
Santa Cruz.
Santa Cruz.
Yeah, then you get some like, bro. Yo, dude,
how you doing, bro?
Yeah, but how has been the LA transition? Do you miss stuff from here?
I do miss some things about it. I miss the public transit, if I'm honest.
Man, best public transport in the world, London. I'm sorry, New York. It is better here.
Absolutely, it's better here.
Better here. Expensive as fuck though. Oof.
Yeah, but it's one of the few things that in the world where you get what you pay for.
Yeah, but just that thing in New York, you get like the rail card for like the month and it costs not that much, whereas here it's like £250 a tube. Ugh.
Yeah, but why don't you just do the weekly pass for £32?
Is that a thing?
Are you drunk? Yeah.
I just tap and go with my bank card.
You've been tapping as you go with your bank card?
Yeah.
That's such a scam. Get an Oyster card and just put a weekly pass on it.
32. Am I racking up 32?
You'll be so shocked how much money you end up saving.
Interesting.
Because
you sure that's a thing?
100%. Like they cap it at £10, so you will only have to pay £10 a day, and then the rest of your rides are free.
Right.
If you're on pay as you go.
Right.
But okay, so then you usually will spend about equal, if not more, just tapping in and out.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. I always got told that they cap you on like your contactless as opposed to, your oyster. I got told the complete opposite thing to you.
I just always get a weekly pass. It's great. $32 and you're everywhere.
You're everywhere.
Zone 1 and 2, but if you're going to zone 3, why?
Most people live in zone 3.
You live in zone 1, I think.
Yeah, zone 1, but I'm not most people. No,
but exactly, but you also, why would you ever need to go to zone 3?
Well, yeah, I know that. I'm just curious about this now. Okay, so public transport.
I do miss about London pre-2015 when they installed gates at every station.
Yeah.
Is you used to be able to ride that tube for free.
Just all the time?
Finsbury Park, there were a bunch of tube stations that didn't have gates. So basically any station that was also a national rail station.
Right. No gates.
I think they couldn't agree on who would maintain the gates or something like that. So there were just no gates. And there were websites that they finally took down. And then there was one on Reddit for a while. There was literally like Tube Hack or TFL Hack. And it was like, want to ride it for free? Here's how you do it.
And it just every station where you can get off with no dramas.
Every station you can get off. Every place where it's like, oh, you live in this area. You want to ride it for free. Here's how you do it. Here's like the routes and stuff like that. And it was hilarious.
Oh, man. That sounds great.
It was great.
I love any flagrant thing like that.
Just a real scofflaw attitude.
Yeah, it's like in Australia we have the sniffer dogs at like train stations and shit. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
That's pretty wild. I need to talk about that in one episode more. But yeah, we have like sniffer dogs in clubs and train stations and stuff. There's like a lot of laws that we just tread all over. We're the opposite of America, you know? Like, take our personal freedoms, whatever. Just don't put us back in jail. That's our vibe.
It's interesting with that is that it is very much not a drug place. Like, it's one of the places where no one is like, yeah, drugs. Like, it's just so like weed a little bit, and people are doing speed and meth.
That's in the country. We have like a big issue with ice and meth and stuff.
But I mean, like, there are sniffer dogs everywhere. It's still like very like, we'll call someone, but you got to be careful. Like in the rest of the world, everyone's just like, yeah, do what you please.
Yeah, we're very backward on that.
I think it's because it's so isolated that it's so difficult to get it in the country.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like people I know have been doing drugs forever.
Oh my God, yeah. The most amount of junkies I've met have been in Australia.
Really?
Yeah.
Like heroin?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Okay. That used to be a thing. It's not so much anymore. Actually, one thing I was going to say, what are your impressions of Australia? You've been there quite extensively.
I like it. It's just warm Canada. I literally just think of it as a warm
Canada. You don't even see the difference? You're just like,
I can see, like, it's very much cheesemo in some ways. It's sometimes very intentionally backward or very intentionally contrarian in terms of personality.
Yeah.
It has a nationalist pride that Canada does not have. Like, it's very like, fucking Australia can't.
That's interesting. Because obviously that's not the part of Australia that I come from. But there is a huge amount of that. You know? I don't mean Sydney. I mean like purely in terms of like socioeconomic, like all that
absolutely.
shit. Absolutely.
It's also one of those things where Canada is next to... Australia gets to have its own culture because it's not next to the largest exporter of culture in the world.
Yeah, and they still infiltrate our culture. I read this article yesterday. They're very worried. Australian students are starting to sound less Australian.
Good.
We're concerned. They're starting to use more American slang.
Yeah.
We're dropping our Aussie slang like struth and crikey.
Only 1 in 3 boys are called Macker.
I know a guy's first name is Mackenzie.
Is that who Macker would be? Would be Mackenzie?
Nah, there's like that. Well, nah, usually it's a last name thing. Like the Mac from your last name will just go Macker in the front.
Yeah, because it's Davo, Macker. What's the other one?
What, like nicknames?
Yeah, there's like a few like
Maddie,
like Gibbo or
Gibbo. Yeah, Nugget. Heaps of Australian people called Nugget.
What? Why?
Wait, that's not a thing in Canada?
No.
You serious?
Yeah.
Nugget. Yeah, it just means like you're kind of short and like chunky.
Yuck, man.
Like, yeah,
Nuggets.
it's disgusting. Yeah, but like you're a bit of a nugget. You're little.
Fuck.
And you're strong. Like it implies strength as well as pudginess.
Yeah, and then also the weird adding of like IE onto the back of things like Gatesy or Baba BBs or Babo. Like,
I mean, you're not doing very well with these examples.
But that, how you guys call ACDC Akadaka?
Yeah.
I'll never forget. I'm just like, what?
Well, this is the thing about Australia that I find really weird. So anything that's a short name, we lengthen.
Elongate it, yeah.
Anything that's a long name, we shorten. Like we just want everything to be the exact same kind of length. Like AC/DC becomes Akadaka.
Yeah.
Because it's easier to say than AC/DC. But then our Prime Minister is called Scott Morrison, but he's referred to in the media as ScoMo.
I mean,
like a celebrity couple. That's our Prime Minister, the PM ScoMo.
when did he become the prime minister? What does fucking shithead get out of there?
Malcolm Turnbull went out last year, October? No, earlier than that. I don't know. Last year sometime.
I've been to Australia 4 times. It's never been the same prime minister once.
But if you look at my childhood, 89, sorry, that was basically as long as I can remember stuff. So like I think it was 1996 until 2007, all the same guy.
Was that Bob Hawke? Was it the guy who kept drinking?
No, John Howard. That was John Howard, our Liberal, the guy who got rid of all the guns.
I like that guy a lot.
Dismantled the unions.
Don't like that part.
Yeah, it was an interesting guy. A lot of people from my generation have we always used to hate him, but we've kind of come to respect him for having an ideology. Because at the moment, most Australian prime ministers it's just populist whatever.
Well, this is the interesting thing about looking at America is Nixon now within Trump. Nixon was a horrifically evil human being.
Yeah.
But also did some amazingly important good things. Created the EPA.
Right.
Tried to end starvation in the world. Took steps to basically destroy the Soviet hold on the planet, which the way he did it, whatever. But he opened negotiations with China and ended a lot of the human rights atrocities that were occurring there. In that iteration, they started up again with the replacements. But hey, what are you going to do? It's just very interesting looking at the history of like how and who people get remembered. Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
The environment would actually be worse off without Nixon? That's insane.
Yeah, it's weird. Hey, like the causation. You're just kind of like, oh, wow. Okay. He was the guy for that? All right. Great. Good.
Yeah, like it's bizarre. Like Clinton is the reason that 2008 happened, not George W. Bush. You're like, what? No.
Actually, we're gonna have to wrap up soon, man. We've done
How long
well.
have we talked?
Hour 15.
Woo!
Yeah, I like to get a nice little sweet spot between 60 and 90.
It's good, yeah.
The old 60-90.
Yeah.
Dinner for
Penis.
2. Do you have bingo in Canada?
Of course.
Do you have all the things?
This is how weird
like
television...
legs 11, 69, dinner for 2. Like you say the words after the bingo. Stop touching the microphone.
I will not. This is how weird...
Antagonizing the listeners.
This is how weird Canada was. I remember as a kid on television on Saturday night, between 6 and 8, it was just a guy in a bingo hall calling bingo.
Get the... What?
On Channel 6, yeah.
How many channels you got in Canada?
When I was a kid, at first it was 12, then 24, and then we didn't have cable for like 7 years.
Right.
So it was 3.
You have 3 non-cable channels?
Yeah, it'd be 3 non-cable channels.
Jesus. I think we've got 5, 6 non-cable. But then now we got more. We doubled recently.
Well, that's the thing is...
Most of my life we had like 2, SBS, 7, 9, 10. That was it.
What's crazy now is that with digital, if you just get an antenna, you get like 15 or 16 channels.
Yeah, of like the secondary channels, right? Is it the same there?
Yeah, because you can't encrypt them in the same way because digital is just a wave in the air. So it's like these ones all share that wave that's picked up by this antenna.
Yeah.
Have them.
But I still don't know about the like we've got a TV here, but we don't use TV.
You just watch Netflix and stuff.
Yeah, because like the TV license, I'm like, what the fuck is that?
You do still have to pay for it, by the way.
Yeah.
Even if you're not using TV.
No, that's not true. I've heard the opposite.
I would look into that because I got a note.
But this is the thing.
Wait, do you use iPlayer?
No.
Then you're fine.
Exactly. It's just iPlayer and shit.
Yeah.
But this is the thing. It's like apparently they can turn up and be like, hey, using a TV? And you're like, nope, you just shut the door in their face. Like they can't do anything. These are like the rumors.
I would look into that. I think they can actually look.
British stuff.
Because it's also a laptop also counts as a television.
I didn't know that if you use iPlayer. It's so weird over here. Like, they're wondering why no one's watching their shit. It's like, just make it easier.
But a shitload of people watch their shit.
I mean, I did actually look at that. The viewing numbers for something, they were like, yeah, it was averaging like 4 million. I'm like, that's a lot.
It's a huge populated country. Like, there's so many people here.
But, like, just for TV, you know? Like, American, there's so many channels and shit. Like, they get fuck all. Like, their shows get like 1 million if they're lucky. Like, just your kind of random show.
It's so
like
weird.
Your random sitcom.
Someone told me, I don't think this is true, but that HBO basically makes John Oliver not for the ratings, but for how much it gets on YouTube.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Completely.
Like, that's in... Then I'm like, wait a minute. You're spending all the money for TV quality to put it on a screen the size of a stamp.
Yeah. Because, people watch the YouTube on their TV,
Exactly.
you Apple Play it, they're just like, yeah, whatever. As long as they're racking it up.
You see specifically him watching it on their phones in the morning. You're like,
Yeah.
oh ho, John. Talked through a yawn there is what I just did.
Yeah, he's done it a bit. Are you still on the jet lags? When did you fly in?
Flew in last week, but I flew from San Francisco directly to Portugal and then went on set for a commercial and was in a river canoeing dressed as a Mountie.
Sorry, you've got to explain the commercial thing because you kind of told me and then I forgot to bring it up. But
I'm the
I
face
really
of a
need to-
gum in Denmark. Just Google Stimmerol Ranger.
And what a face for a gum. Like, why? Like, minty.
I'm dressed like a Mountie as well.
Do you speak in English?
Yeah.
And they dub you or no?
No.
It's just the face and voice
Well,
of a
because the
gum.
rest, so much of the world just goes, we speak such and such and English. So they're like, we speak
Yeah,
Danish and English.
Well, is this why you're so frustrated with Brexit? It's stopping you earning your sweet...
Doesn't
Dead-
stop me at all,
Denmark
baby.
gum money.
Here's what it does stop: the British from fucking getting any tax. I will be taxed by the Americans at a much lower rate because they're fucking foolish and don't give you health care.
That's true. Love a good American
Actually, I don't
tax.
think that's true for the next year. Fuck no, I gotta pay Britain still.
But no, it was so you left the UK. Was it Brexit related?
Yeah, partly.
Partly, and then you're
also ready to go.
ready to go because you found it hard. People do find it hard. I found that interesting. This is my second year here, so I don't think like I'm there yet. But people who aren't from here, London especially, it seems to like add up. Like smoking.
Yeah, it's
Like
a lot.
It accrues over time.
Yeah, it's a lot of stress. It was also I was traveling and working too much. Like I was taking no days off because you can get to a point here where you can gig every night and be making money every night. And this doesn't sound like it's a complaint, but in a way it is. And that was very dangerous for me because I had been poor for most of my adult life. And the idea to actually be earning a good living wage.
Yeah, because here is like one of the few comedy circuits in the world where you can make a good wage live.
So I was like, well,
purely
why
live.
the fuck would I not
Take advantage.
take advantage of that?
And then those sweet pounds.
They're in those sweet, sweet pounds.
Used to be worth something.
Oh, Christmas 2015. I'll never forget it. The Canadian dollar is tied to oil and, what the fuck are they called? UPAC? EPAC? Oh, the alliance that controls oil prices in the Middle East.
I don't know.
Someone's yelling at their phone right now. They dropped the barrel price of oil, so the Canadian dollar plummeted.
Yeah.
But the British dollar spiked.
Yeah.
And I worked out with the fee my bank card was charging me for taking out money so I could ride the bus in Toronto.
Yeah.
It was cheaper for me to take Ubers because that was based in the UK, so it would just like come in as a UK pound, like it would be like £2
Yeah.
for a $10 Uber.
And you were just like, this is the dream.
I was like, this is ridiculous.
I thought you were going to make some splashy purchase like, Mom.
I made a few I bought a laptop. Like I literally,
Nice.
like I just, of course.
Of course you should. Yeah, you gotta wait for that. It's like when Australia's dollar was like parity with the US. It was like, come to Papa. I'm going.
What, and also didn't you guys just get a bunch of money from the government one year?
Yeah, stimulus package.
So everyone got like $20?
No, it was like $1,000.
Everyone just got $1,000?
Yeah, and you had to spend it. That was the point.
What if you didn't spend it?
Well, the government got pissed at you, but that's fine. Like that wasn't the intention of the package. The intention of the package was to give everyone $1,000 they could then put back into the economy, which would then stimulate the economy.
Did it work?
I think so. We dodged the recession.
Yeah, but so did Canada because both of our countries have really tight banking regulations.
Yeah, but what do you want? They gave us the stimulus package and it works. I mean, I think I bought a laptop. No, I didn't. I bought some textbooks. I was a young man.
I just remember the only reason I knew about this is I was trying to learn about Australian comedy and I was watching Will Anderson and he just talked about
Oh, the king of Australian comedy, Will Anderson.
Kevin Rudd's free TV money and I looked up what the fuck he was talking about.
Yeah. No, yeah. Does any Australian comedy reach Canada? Like, is there anyone big there? Like, I would assume
Carl
not.
Barron, weirdly, I've seen plays like theaters occasionally.
Yeah. No, he's probably our biggest export in
And he's
any market.
so quietly huge there. Like he never plays any of the festivals.
He just does his own thing. He does town halls, theaters in the country. Doesn't do anything apart from that. No TV, no interview, no anything.
No, like interview, no nothing.
No.
Doesn't give a fuck.
Doesn't give a fuck.
Holy
A
shit.
true, like, that's the thing.
He's fucking good. Too.
Oh, he's very funny. Is Australia's like comedy hero. Like, he's the perfect Australian for comedy and like Australian man thing. Like, that's just him. And then the industry can't use him because he refuses to do anything for them. So they have to try and make these other people as big as Carl Barron, but they can't.
So is Carl Barron statistically the biggest comedian?
Yeah. Like, apart from Jim Jeffries, I guess, but like, that wasn't homegrown.
But Jim Jeffries was not homegrown. Jim Jeffries was bigger everywhere else before. It was like legit that broke him in Australia.
Yeah, he had to be reintroduced into Australia. Like, the gun control bit broke him in Australia.
Because it was so pro-Australian such.
Yeah. And like, yeah, Americans are dumb, Australians are smart. And we're like, woo!
What's interesting about that bit in Jim Jeffries in general is you would think his audience would be us, but his audience is actually way older. Like, my dad's gone to see Jim Jeffries.
Really?
Because that gun control bit
Appeals to...
he loved it. And because it's just straight up observational comedy from a guy in a leather jacket.
Yeah, which is what they want.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, all right, good times. My dad loves it. Oh my God, so happy about it.
Wait, before we go, would you...
I want to ask more about Carl Barron, but keep going.
Before, like, you're living in LA now?
Yes, partly in LA, partly in London.
Permanent in the over there?
I think probably permanent coming back and forth. I'm kind of liking...
You're liking the double?
I'm liking the double. I'm just doing what... I liked living in Britain because I liked doing the Edinburgh Festival and I liked doing festivals and I liked making a new show every year. And I realized I can just do that and I don't need to worry about going up and down the country.
Yeah, in your little towns.
In my little towns.
In your villages.
Like, it's nothing against those gigs. If I get to the point where I could support a tour, I will be back in those little towns.
Yeah. But until then, just do the festival, then go to LA.
And then do LA, pop back in. Like, I just like it. It's just what I wanted to do. Pardon me, I'm going to yawn again.
Most yawns on the pod ever. The very tired John Hastings.
I just yawn a lot. And it's just trying to do what actually makes me feel happy in my career as opposed to going to Middlesbrough a lot.
Middlesbrough. I've never been to the Middlesbrough.
Sucks.
I said I did because usually pay out Birmingham and it has the same number of syllables as Middlesbrough. So I was like, I'm going to say Middlesbrough while I'm in Birmingham.
Do you like Birmingham as
yes,
a town?
Big fan.
Really?
Love it.
Least favorite city in the United Kingdom.
Interesting. It is my most favorite outside of London. Like, you
Really?
may as well just exclude London.
It's
like,
interesting. It's interesting how you get people that like Liverpool, Birmingham, or Manchester, but none of them agree. Like, everyone likes one of those three.
Yeah, I would go Birmingham, Manchester, Liverpool. That's my order.
I would go Birmingham, maybe Liverpool in the daytime only, then Birmingham. Like, Manchester, absolutely number one.
Absolutely number one. Interesting. I mean, yeah. Like, we talking shows and life or just life?
Shows and life.
Yeah.
Birmingham for shows, fucking amazing. Birmingham as a city, doo-doo trousers.
Yeah, it's got something. It's got a little integrity that I like. It's got Asian people. And like Asian people, like we say Asian people, not like British people say Asian people.
Asian people from Southeast Asia as opposed to Asian people from continental Asia.
China is not Southeast Asia.
I get it's very.
Japan is not Southeast Asia.
I know, but
Korea is not Southeast Asia. Why are they South Asian? You know what's South Asian? Fucking India. That's what South Asian is.
It gets so fucking confusing because how they used to distinguish it is saying Oriental Asian, proper Asian.
I know,
but Oriental became a racial term, so now you can't say it. The problem is that it's literally the place. It's what the geographical marker was. They are from the Orient. No. And I'm not defending my use of that word. It just gets very confusing.
No, but I think they're wrong here. I maintain this is what I do in Australia, and I will bring it forward. It is you are Asian if you're like from China, Japan, Korea, Malaysia, Indonesia, etc. And if you're from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, whatever, you're brown. That's it.
I just say they're all Asian.
They're all Asian?
They're all Asian, and then I will clarify what region of Asia they are from by getting to know them.
By getting to know them. By asking a follow-up question. Any other city in the UK that you'd live in apart from London?
Brighton or Manchester?
A lot of people say Brighton. Brighton's I'm trying to ask more consistent questions on this thing. That was my insert there.
It's close enough to London that it wouldn't affect the career if you're a comedian.
Yeah.
far enough away that it would be a different change of pace. The problem is a lot of people have figured that out about Brighton.
Yeah, but now they're just commuters.
So now it's a really expensive place to live.
Yeah.
What we're also going to see is when that Crossrail comes into London, woo, we're going to see some interesting places become popular to live in.
What's the Crossrail?
Crossrail is going to go from Reading basically to Heathrow across the city, and it's going to open up, I think, Kent and a couple of other places, and you're 20 minutes into central London.
Shit. So they keep bringing the ring out for London.
Yeah, they absolutely Reading will now be part of London. Essentially, it will be a suburb of London.
That's a horrible place.
Not a good place. No,
not a good place. Go back to Canada at any point. Is anything tugging on your heartstrings to go back?
My girlfriend lives in Canada, which is something that we can't get in. We could have discussed at a later date. But yeah, my girlfriend lives in Canada. We met at a bar and have been in a long distance relationship.
How long distance?
3 years.
Oof.
Yeah, bud. Real rough.
That is shit.
That's
heap shit. I didn't even try to sugarcoat. I'm just like, long distance sucks.
Sucks balls. Where is your girlfriend right now?
Work.
What does she do?
Marketing.
I like that.
Yeah. Across, like 5 minutes walk away. Short distance.
That's very convenient.
Yeah, no, it's annoying because now she makes me bring her stuff. She's like, oh, I forgot my thing. Can you just bring it? And I'm like, fine.
Don't you understand? I'm pretending to work by
exactly
laying around.
Exactly.
Do you do that thing where you're living with a partner and you have a nighttime job and they have a daytime job where you get up when they get up, or do you?
I get up when they get up, but I don't like. She goes straight out the door. Like, there's no breakfast. You know,
like she literally gets up,
gets up, showers. Like I'll wake up when she wakes up, and we'll chat while she gets ready, and then I'll do some work in bed. What a job we have.
There's nothing better. Little laptop in bed.
Yeah, just a bit of email, bit of that, and then yeah, I liked in Sydney more the crossover. That's one of the only annoying things with London, and like just doing gigs outside of London. Like you miss the crossover time, like that kind of 5:30 to 6:37. You know,
because you're not gigging that much in London right now.
Not too much. Varies week to week.
Yeah,
I'm seeing plenty of this beautiful country.
Of course, you'll see a lot more of it, and then it's weird as you're here longer, the more you're in London.
Yeah,
which is weird that you would. But everyone tells you have to live in London, when you're like, if I lived in Manchester,
it'd surely be easier. But then I have to perform for those horrific people up there. John Hastings.
Danielle Bogleton.
Where can they find you?
At the John Hastings on all forms of social media, including my website, www.thejohnhastings.com.
This will all be listed at the thing of the podcast, little description.
Yeah.
And any clarifications of stuff that we forgot the name of.
Good.
I like that.
I feel really bad if I come across as racist when I try to defend the term Orient.
No, I don't think so. You're just like, that's how they used to do it, and then we did this thing, so now they're screwed. And I'm like, look, right. Fair. I thought the weirdest, I was just in Poland, and there was a kebab shop, and they were like in Polish, like Orientalisch Specialität, like Polish.
I do.
I was like, I would never call a kebab an Asian specialty.
You get into Eastern Europe, and they really don't know how to translate some stuff.
They have some issues.
You Smoke was a smoke shop there I saw in Latvia, I believe.
Nice. Ladies and gentlemen, another good app. Catch you next time. Thanks, John Hastings. All right, that was my chat with John Hastings. Very entertaining fella, very politically aware. I didn't know he knew that much stuff about politics. Sorry the quality on this is a little bit bad, but I'm recording it on my phone as I wander around York. Those are ducks. I don't know if you can hear them, but they were just flying. I'm looking at some real old castle thingy that seems to be the centerpiece of a car park, because it's the UK and they've got so much old shit, they really don't treat it with any respect at all. But thanks for listening. Get in touch as always if you've got any questions. And if you want to check out some comedy, there are 2 Australian comedians' dope comedy shows coming up. One, February 23rd in the afternoon, 4 p.m. at Angel Comedy in Angel. The Bill Murray purpose-built, crowd-funded comedy venue. It's great. Check that out. And then otherwise, we have our first Sunday in March, with a dope lineup of Heidi Regan, Adam Vincent, and New Zealand's Nick Sampson. So get around that. Otherwise, jerk offs. Until next week. Bye.